And what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Madden 20 Carolina Panthers franchise with me. Panthers are at 6-2 at the midway point of the season as we look around the league at the midway point. I've got some upgrades to do first as Brian Burns. I did unlock his superstar development trait. We're going to upgrade his speed rushing. He's going to be up to an 80 overall, which is going to unlock some abilities now. As we get awareness, +1 speed, +1 strength, +2 man, he is going to be a monster, which he's already been a monster, but you can see I unlocked his superstar development trait. And we've unlocked, I believe, some abilities here. Let's see. We've unlocked under pressure, so now Brian Burns will have the ability to apply pressure to the quarterback from a greater distance. Oh my goodness. Brian Burns, he has got 9 sacks this year. He's got a pick 6 as we upgrade some of our backups here. Just having a monster season this year for the Panthers. There's Jared Norris. He's getting a lot of playing time because Shaq Thompson has been battling injuries all season. He's barely been on the field. Greg Van Roten goes up to a 63. He's the backup left guard for Carolina. So, as we go around the league here, let's first look at the standings. So you can see Carolina, when we started, I believe I was a 79 overall as a team. I'm up to an 81 overall. Offense is up to an 85. Defense up to an 81. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with Brian Burns getting a bunch of upgrades since I unlocked his superstar trait. He's been progressing pretty quick. He was a 75 overall when the season started. Already through midseason, he's already up to an 80 overall. So he's gained 5 overall points. But we'll go around the league here. We will look at the standings across the NFL. As the AFC North, the Browns, that's everybody's favorite team this year since they got Odell Beckham Jr. with Baker Mayfield, the young, exciting quarterback in his second season. You can see they're having a pretty good season now. 5-3 atop the division. The Steelers are 4-3 and a tie. Ravens 4-4, Bengals 3-5. They started off the season pretty well, but they've lost 3 straight. AFC South, this is looking like it's going to be 8 or 9 wins can get the AFC South this year. As the Colts are 4-5, the Jaguars they're 4-4. I'm sorry, the Jaguars are 4-5. They were 1-4 after we beat them this season, so they have really got themselves back in it. And you know, they're in a division that it's not going to take a bunch of wins to get it. And even Tennessee and Houston at 3-6 are still alive in the AFC South. The AFC East, really surprising, the Jets and the Bills are atop the division at 5-3. The Patriots, they started off the season 1-4, but they've ripped off 4 consecutive wins, and you can't feel too comfortable about that if you're the Jets and the Bills. The Dolphins at 2-6 in last place again. The Chiefs 6-3 with, of course, Patrick Mahomes, the Madden cover boy. A lot of Chiefs fans I've been seeing online are predicting 14 and 15 wins for them this year. In our franchise, they start off 6-3. The Chargers are 4-1, Broncos 4-5, Raiders 3-5. Now we get to the NFC. The Green Bay Packers, they are the lone undefeated team left in the NFL, and we have to go and play them on the road. So that is going to be a tough game. The Bears at 5-3, battling for a wild card spot at this point. It's going to take a collapse by the Packers for the Bears to get back into it for the NFC North, but they're sitting pretty well, looking for a wild card spot. Lions staying alive in the wild card hunt at 4-4, and the Minnesota Vikings have lost 4 in a row. They're down to 3-6. As the Panthers, we look at the NFC South. The Panthers lone sole possession of first place at 6-2. The Saints are 5-3. They got off to a mediocre 3-3 start, but they've won 2 in a row as they look to get it going in the second half of the season. The Buccaneers are 3-5, as well as the Falcons at 3-5. NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles are sitting at 6-3. Cowboys, Redskins. Cowboys 4-4. Redskins 4-5. Giants 3-6. NFC West, the LA Rams are at 6-2, and if the playoffs started today, they have the tiebreaker, so they would get the 2 seed, and I believe we would get the 3 seed. 49ers, they started off the season 4-2. Now they've lost 2 in a row, and they are at 4-4. The Seahawks 4-5. They've ripped off 3 straight wins. So they were at 1-5. It was looking like their season was over, but they're trying to battle themselves back into the wild card discussion. And the Arizona Cardinals at 1-8 to start the season off. So that's a look around the league with the standings. We'll look at some stats here. As we can see, the Panthers 27th in offense, total offense, but first in the NFL in total defense. And in points scored, 16th in the league. And then I believe it's, second in the NFL in points allowed. So, it's been a struggle somewhat on offense, but we have left a lot of points on the field with Graham Gano this year. He is struggling mightily. And, I'm going to be honest. I've missed more kicks. It's been the biggest adventure. And I'm playing on All-Pro basically with default sliders. I did change a couple of things. I did try to take away try to minimize some of the fumbles, which I can't imagine what it would be when you see Luke Kuechly's forced fumbles. I can't imagine if I didn't mess with that slider what it would be. It's somewhat unrealistic, but he's an X Factor superstar player. So in the game of Madden, I'm fine with it being a video game and all. But it's just one of those things where you want to get these superstar players, you want to get these X Factor players in this year's Madden. So when an X Factor player like that goes off and puts up some of the numbers that he's putting up, I'm fine with it. In this year's Madden. So we'll look at some of the player stats. Cam Newton, he's got over 2,000 yards, so he's on pace to get 4,000 yards this season. 66% completions, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but 3 of those interceptions came in the first game against the Rams, so only 3 interceptions since week 1. So he's having, the touchdowns, you want to see that go up in the second half of the season, especially with 1, Graham Gano struggling, but 2, some of the offenses that we're going to have to face, some of these quarterbacks we're going to have to face. It's going to be a brutal second half of the season, strength of schedule-wise. But, not too bad. Coming off of the shoulder injury, he did have a scare one game, but it was a very minor injury. He had to sit out a couple of plays, but he's been healthy. He's been, he's had a couple of passes where they got stopped at the 1-yard line, so that could easily be 14 or 15 or maybe even 16 touchdowns. But, we'll take it right now, considering how last season ended for him, and we're just glad that he is healthy this year. And he is doing good things for us on the passing it and also rushing it. He's got 220 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey had the scare this week. He already missed several games with a shoulder. He did have a bruised sternum, which he wasn't able to finish the last game. But it just goes down to, did they use him too much last year? Because like I said, he never came off the field. They signed C.J. Anderson, and they cut him towards the end of the season, and he ended up with the Rams, where he had a nice run at the end of the season for the Rams. But Jordan Scarlett, he's having a pretty decent rookie season. So I think in the second half of the season, I'm not going to take him completely out. I'm still going to use him a lot, but I think Jordan Scarlett's going to get a lot more carries in the second half of the season just to try to keep McCaffrey fresh. But he's just one of those guys. He does so many good things. You just can't You just can't take him off the field. As we look at the Panthers receivers, DJ Moore leads the way in receiving yards with 582. Curtis Samuel 550. So on pace to have two 1,000-yard receivers for the Panthers this year. And Greg Olsen, he's hurt again. He's going to miss several more weeks. He's got 289 receiving yards and the touchdown. Torrey Smith, he's having a solid year as the slot receiver. 23 catches, 250 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. And McCaffrey, 207 yards receiving and the touchdown. And Jordan Scarlett had the touchdown. And also Chris Hogan, his only catch of the season was a 5-yard touchdown. But you can see really spreading the ball around this year. 34 receptions for Curtis Samuel leads the team. 30 for Moore. 23 for Torrey Smith and 21 for McCaffrey. So really spreading the ball around. Is Cam Newton throwing it? We'll look at the defense and Luke Kuechly, 77 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, a sack and a half, 1 interception, which was a pick six, a big pick six against the Buccaneers, but the Panthers ended up losing that game, of course. And look at these 6 deflections. Look at the 9 forced fumbles for Luke Kuechly. I mean, he is just forcing turnovers. He's making so many plays for the Panthers. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if a defensive player will ever win MVP, but if there's one more deserving of, at least as far as the first half of the season being the MVP of the league, if there's one deserving of it, it's that guy right there, Kuechly, because the fumbles he's not just forcing fumbles, they're timely fumbles. Like last week against the Titans, forcing that fumble right at the goal line, and that saved the game because you never know what can happen in overtime. So, he's having a great season, and so is the rookie Brian Burns. He's got 39 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, an interception, which was a pick six, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. So, as you can see the sacks here, 3 from Gerald McCoy, but after that, I mean, just not able to really get a consistent pass rush with anybody not named Brian Burns. So where would this defense be if they didn't draft Brian Burns? And we are so glad that they did not. We go to the kicking. 17 for 23, 6 missed field goals. 14 of 18 on extra points. He's missed 4 extra points already, so 10 missed kicks. And honestly, I mean, that is bizarre. I mean, the kicking meter this year, I mean, it seems obviously a little bit more difficult, but I don't think I missed 10 kicks in all the seasons I played. I think I played 4 seasons in Madden 19 last year. I don't think I missed 10 kicks in all 4 of those seasons. So it's been an adventure. For sure. So that's what the Panthers are looking like. Let's take a look around the league at the league leaders here. As we can see, Tom Brady in his 20th season with the Patriots, still getting it done, leading the league in passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He must have gotten off to a slow start because they were only 1-4, and now they're 4-5, and it looks like the Patriots are just going to start to run away with it as they are hitting their stride. Aaron Rodgers, we got to play him this week. He's already almost at 2,500 passing yards. He's on his way to a 5,000-yard season. 16 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. Marcus Mariota, he's on his way to a 5,000-yard season, as he's got 16 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, he's off to another good start. 17 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Deshaun Watson. Josh Allen for the Bills. What a season he's having in his second year. 17 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. Phillip Rivers still getting it done. Joe Flacco getting it done for the Broncos. Nick Foles, he's having a good year for the Jaguars after he was off to a slow start to the season. Carson Wentz, Alex Smith, Drew Brees. Oh, man, we got to still face him twice in the second half of the season. And right behind him, Matt Ryan. So, the Falcons are 3-6, but, the Panthers, if there's been a weakness on the team besides special teams kicking wise, it has been the pass defense. So Brian Burns is going to have to, break the NFL record in sacks, apparently, because nobody else can get any pressure, and we've got all of these elite quarterbacks to go. Where's Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck, I mean, look at this. I mean, he's got almost 2,000 yards passing, and look how far down he is in the league leaders. We've got to face him. So there's a look at look at that, 18 touchdowns, 5 inter. Look at Jimmy G, 17 touchdowns and 1 interception still. Dak Prescott having a good. I mean, all these quarterbacks are just having. Even Andy Dalton there. Jameis Winston, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, so he's still turning the ball over for the Bucks. But this is pretty crazy. I mean, if you look at all these passing yards, it's definitely a passing league now, especially in Madden. Rushing-wise, the leading rusher is Ezekiel Elliott. He's looking like he could possibly have a 2,000-yard rushing season. And Chris Carson well behind him for the rushing title this year. David Johnson. Todd Gurley recovering from those knee injuries that he was having last year. He's off to a good start. Kareem Hunt for the Browns, 9 touchdowns, 723 yards. Aaron Jones, we've got to face him this week. He's got 700 yards rushing. Saquon Barkley. Marlon Mack, Melvin, big offensive numbers. Just big offensive numbers everywhere this season in 2019. Receiving, Julian Edelman, he is just dominating. Cole Beasley for the Bills, 10 touchdowns. Jamison Crowder for the Jets, and Sterling Shepard for the Giants. Emmanuel Sanders still getting it done. Julio Jones, of course, still getting it done. He's got a lot of touchdowns. That's not normal. He's a beast, but it seems like Julio Jones never scores. Michael Thomas, he signed a huge contract in real life. I don't know if that carried over to Madden, because I started this on the EA Access trial, so I don't think that they've got his new contract on here. DeAndre Hopkins, he's one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's having a good start to this year. As we kind of look at some of the other league leaders here in receiving yards, DJ Moore with 582, and Curtis Samuel with 550. We'll look at some defensive numbers here. Joe Schobert for the Browns is leading the league in tackles. Luke Kuechly not far behind with 77. Thomas Davis Sr., he's still getting it done in his 15th season. It's very odd that he's not with the Panthers. It would be very weird to see him in a Chargers uniform, honestly. Still getting it done. Let's see what Thomas Davis, he's an 80 overall still, so he's still, we miss him here in Carolina, miss his leadership, but I think it was the right move at this point for the Panthers to go in another direction. Bobby Wagner, who got the 99 overall at middle linebacker. Again, a lot of Panthers fans salty about that. I mean, Bobby Wagner's a beast. You can't really be mad about that. We'll look at the sack leaders. 12.5 for Von Miller, who ruined Cam Newton's first Super Bowl appearance. Hopefully not his only Super Bowl appearance. Calais Campbell, he had 3 against us. He's got 10 overall. Brian Burns, 3rd in the NFL in sacks in his rookie season. Khalil Mack, he's got 8 sacks, 7.5 for Jerry Hughes. Melvin Ingram, he's got 7.5. J.J. Watt with 6. And Jadeveon Clowney, he had 2 against us. He's got 5 overall. So there's some of the sack leaders. Interceptions. Keanu Neal for the Falcons, 4 interceptions. That's for the league lead. I don't see Dante Jackson on that list. He's got 3 interceptions, but I don't see him here on the league leaders. But he's got 3. Pass deflections. Kuechly's tied for first with 6. Forced fumbles. I mean, it's not even close yet. Luke Kuechly with 9. The next guy's got 2. Fumble recoveries. Brian Burns with 2, tied for first in the NFL there. Defensive touchdowns. A bunch of guys with 1. And that is the defense. So those are the league leaders right now. I'm going to get off of here, though. We'll look at the remaining schedule in the second half of the season for Carolina. Kind of look at how we got here. Lost the opening game to the Rams 27-34, then ripped off 4 straight. Lost a crazy game to the Buccaneers in London, and then you can see back-to-back 24-17 victories. But here it is. Panthers at 6-2, just like last year, and just like last year, they're going to have to face a top-end offense on the road. This is going to, psychologically for Carolina, I don't want to say must win, but they've got to compete. They've got to not get, destroyed in that game. And then we're at home against the Falcons. Don't care about the 3-6 record that the simulations have them as. That's going to be a tough game because of the offensive weapons that they have going against our secondary, which has struggled at times this year. At New Orleans, that's going to be another tough game. And then we get a little bit of a break. No disrespect to the Redskins, but they're not going to be nearly as an elite of an opponent as the next 3. So for these next 4, if I can split here, just find a way to beat one of these 3 and then take care of business at home against the Redskins. That would put us at 8-4. And I believe that would have us in a good situation going into the stretch run, into the playoff run. But still, the Falcons, the Seahawks, that's going to be a tough game. You look at this schedule in the second half, and the Redskins are the only team that's not going to have like an elite quarterback. So 7 of the final 8 games, the secondary is going to be tested. This team is going to be battle-tested if we can somehow survive and sneak into the playoffs. We're going to see what they're made of really quick. So it should be an exciting second half of the season. Hopefully we don't lose 7 in a row again, but with this schedule, you never know. So I'm going to get off of here. I will see y'all in the next game against the Green Bay Packers, who are 9-0. They're going to be looking to go 10-0. So thanks for watching. Definitely subscribe if you enjoy, and thumbs up if you enjoy, and leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about the first half of the season and how the season is going and what your predictions are for the second half, and I'll see y'all later.